doing it, but you know the single player is going to be worth $60
Yeah.
by itself. So I think the other stuff is an added bonus.
So Twisted Metal, Mr. Jaffe's upcoming game. Always a favorite here at GT.
We love our Jaffe.
He's awesome. Now, I have not played Twisted Metal. Ryan is going to jump in here. He's been running audio for us today. He did get to see it. What's the dealio?
It's definitely Twisted Metal. I mean, just riffing off what you guys were just saying, it is still Twisted Metal. You have a lot of hits to take people down. If you're really good at the game, you can kill people. But there's still that kind of learning curve to jump in there and actually kind of make that progress. You know, it's a fun game to mess around with. They're definitely doing tons and tons of changes and focus testing. Jaffe told me he wishes he could never show it to the press and just basically have like a secret army of testers that were like assassinated immediately afterwards and just fine-tune the game. But like the nuke mode from E3 was completely retooled, so now it's working on innings instead of simultaneous stuff. And, you know, it's funny, though, because something like we'd seen the helicopter before, but they've invented, the Juggernaut?
The Juggernaut, which is a great big truck.
It's a Big Mac truck.
Yeah, anybody who watched Knight Rider in the 80s will be very familiar with that sort of truck. You can basically, it's a big tank. It's kind of slow as it trundles around. It's got mines on the side it can drop out. But the really cool thing is you can have two. It can lower its the tail, and two drivers can drive in, and then they mount.
It's like Spy
rear.
Hunter.
Yeah, but they got rear and mount and front-facing guns.
The vehicles are way more the vehicles in the past Twisted Metals always had their own attributes and whatnot, but they were still kind of always like these are cars. Or if you were driving around as that fucking idiot Axel, you were still basically a car. You're just a fucking idiot.
Axel's vehicle though does have a number of uses, especially in some of the new levels that they put in.
The cars have a lot more of a personality. Like they were even saying, like I can't remember which one it was. Was it the? I can't remember. One of the cars is almost like the team's medic.
Because
there's going to be more. There's going to be more kind of a class-based role thing. I mean, it's not going to be as crazy as like a Team Fortress, but there's definitely more roles that you can play.
How does that work? The car as a medic.
Like you can put down like heal points.
Yeah,
and
you've
stuff
got heal
like that.
points. You've got boosts. You've got perks. If
Put
you
down
will.
heal points.
I know. Basically, it drops. It drops them down.
Car.
You drive over them, and it's power ups. It gives you armor piercing bullets, or it gives you rocket launchers or whatever. It gives you these little power ups, which is actually really cool. All right, so let's talk about Axel, because Axel has been the bone of contention for so many people.
Well, they haven't showed him.
They haven't showed him, but they've shown his wheels.
He's only like 10% of the model.
But they showed us 3 maps all told.
Oh wait, Jeff. Oh my God, are you secretly Axel?
Can't discuss what my role is in the game.
Oh my God, we figured it. Exclusive right here.
I
on
have to recuse
Invisible
myself from
Walls.
discussion because you probably saw the footage of GTTV. I just play an inmate in the asylum.
An inmate named
that
Axel.
Calypso has.
Were you acting?
So, yeah, I have a big live action sequence in Twisted Metal.
No, I'm just saying, were you acting, or are you just being
no,
yourself?
I'm just insane. Yes, patently insane.
So
here's my question: Have any of you guys missed Twisted Metal?
I got a
I
confession.
see a couple people shaking their heads.
I got a confession to make. I was always a Wipeout kind of guy.
those
I
are
loved
two
Wipeout.
completely different games.
Wipeout, Demolition Derby.
I mean,
the
Vigilante
8,
the Sony
Interstate
Psygnosis
76.
games. Those are the ones that really caught my attention more than
They
Twisted
kind of
Metal.
went away for a
There's
reason.
I mean, there's something fun about Twisted Metal. I think the biggest challenge that Jaffe faces, which he's fully admitting, is that now charging $60 for a game. It's like there's a big expectation, and a lot of huge games coming up this fall. And Twisted Metal is going to be a fun multiplayer sort of romp, action oriented. But can you get $60 for that? Will you pick Twisted Metal over buying Batman: Arkham City or buying Gears of War 3? That's, I think, the biggest challenge that they have. And Jaffe's gone from epic games with God of War to something super small like Calling All Cars, and this is definitely it's
Somewhere
a
in the
full scale
middle.
product. Yeah, somewhere in the middle, but
It goes back to the conversation you guys were having about Uncharted and install base, and let's be honest, Twisted Metal is 99% multiplayer, right? Yeah. And they said there's going to be some sort of persistence, so there's that going to be kind of
it'll be
that
fun
carrot on a
multiplayer.
stick.
Like I genuinely think it's going to be a really fun game to
but
play.
can it support that kind of
multiplayer.
install base?
The one thing I will say is that
install base support it.
Yeah.
all the events we went to last week were all multiplayer. The one with the netcode that was the jankiest was Twisted Metal.
Oh yeah, it crashed a lot.
It was crashing a lot. It was janky when you
E3.
kicked off. Yeah, it was. I mean, they need to tighten up that netcode, and it is obviously a preview version.
Yeah.
It won't be Gold Master for at least another 3 to 4 months. But I hope they're going to focus on that a lot.
Graphics. Every time I see the game, not impressed. Am I wrong?
There's a lot of stuff going on, but But yeah, I mean, it's not like
It's looking better, but I mean, it's not. It's
not
not
a steel show.
There's
It's
some
not
big
Uncharted.
God of War, right?
Yeah, it's not God of War, not Uncharted.
It does what it needs to do. It doesn't need to be this visually stunning game, but there are certain levels where you're driving around and literally the walls are changing. There's things rising and falling, and that's what I was going to say. Axel comes in very useful because as a team-based game, one of Axel's moves is basically like a ground pound that pushes everybody off into lava pits, and that's actually really kind of fun. The thing I do like Ryan said, is the vehicles have way more personality. They have their own specific jobs to do now. So if you work as a team, helicopter, you pick somebody up with a magnet, and you can literally fly one of your teammates around, shooting the shit out of everything. Or you can pick up an enemy, fly really high up, and drop them on another enemy. So they've got a lot of good stuff in there. I just hope that netcode is solid enough come September, October.
Where was the skill? Where was the strategy? I mean, shoot, drive, nothing.
Those games had both skill and strategy. You're racing in a city, going 100 miles per hour, blasting everything as you go. Speed, strategy, skill.
All right, so was it last week you and I went back and forth about whether they'd show the next Nintendo console at E3? You said they wouldn't. I said they would.
Humble pie table for one. No, I got it wrong. I got it wrong.
I don't think you have got it wrong.
Who knows? Based on the rumors. I don't know if they'll show it. I think they might. It looks like they're going to announce it over the next 3 to 4 months.
Well, I think they have to say something, right? I mean, I think it's Nintendo needs to introduce where they're going next. The question is, I think, what is the roadmap? Is it going to be Iwata getting up there saying, hey, we're working on something new and we'll tell you more about it? Here's a vision. Remember, even with the Wii, I mean, at first they announced they were doing the system, and then they didn't even show the controller, and then they showed the controller at TGS, and then I think the next year they showed games. So it was a longer rollout for Wii. So I think some of these reports that are coming out that you're going to see all first and third party
screen on the hand.
yeah, and first and third party games all playable at E3 this year. I mean, that's
ridiculous.
I don't
that's
think
not going to happen.
No, I think whatever they're going to announce, they're not going to release the console till probably fall of next year, maybe September if we're lucky. So
who knows though? I mean, it's the thing with Nintendo is that they're really unpredictable. I mean, you remember, Vitality Sensor they announced a couple years ago, hasn't been heard from since. So it's, I think it's clear that they have a roadmap where they want to go. I think, the most interesting thing that I think everyone wants to figure out is what is the hook? Because, Reggie has been pretty public in saying, oh, we're not just going to do Wii HD.
Well, here, I'll run down actually what the rumors are for the sake of the people who don't spend their entire lives on the internet looking at rumors about Nintendo's next console. So here's the rundown of what's flying around there. It's supposed to be unveiled at E3. It's supposed to be more powerful than the current gen systems, meaning the 360 and the PS3. Backwards compatible with Wii software. Some kind of built-in HD screen on the controller. They're saying it's 5 or 6 inches.
Yeah. I mean,
wouldn't that make the controller cost about $200 by itself?
Maybe that's the entire system. Maybe that is it. You just buy a controller.
Yeah. No, to be fair, some of these rumors right here are a little bit dated by now. I mean,
because they happened 3 days ago.
Yeah, I mean 3 days. I mean, geez. I mean, the Nintendo Ninjas.
It's a lifetime on the internet.
The Nintendo Ninjas have definitely lost their touch here with all this information coming out.
I call bullshit on all this in all honesty.
A lot of it is probably, it's all secondhand, obviously.
Or fifth hand.
It's either complete bullshit, as you said, or some of it, the credible stuff, is secondhand stuff coming from the few developers who actually have the dev kits. EA, Ubisoft, and Activision.
But do we even know that they have it? That's just all.
It's amazing to me. Once one rumor hits, and Game Informer had the first story, and then all of a sudden everyone's like, "Oh yeah, I got dev kits. Let me tell you what it is." And I think there's this sort of mentality where everyone wants to feel like they're in the know, so they're just making stuff up. And it will be interesting to see what the innovation is. And it's maybe they're just also experimenting with ideas. And I mean, Nintendo does a lot of prototyping of ideas, and things may not make the final system.
I mean, what's being thrown out there now ultimately would make the system cost about $599 US.
Right, and Nintendo loves to do things cheap. I mean, my biggest kind of question about this whole just the philosophy of doing this HD system, this kind of level of graphics, you got to remember the first party Nintendo developers. They don't know how to make HD games. They don't have the team size to build these big games. So I really wonder, philosophically, what Nintendo's thinking. If they're really going down this path, Miyamoto and his teams, they don't have enough resources in Japan to do this. So are they